seen wild stars in the sky before, but I've never seen them beneath my feet.
My end comes to all things in time. Seal the frost-hewn breach, and instruct the pilgrims in the patience of Remergond.
The scent of sweat, fur, loam, leaves, the discordant howls. I believe Gallowayne's herald approaches. That is the third largest bear I've ever seen! What's keeping it from crushing the lioness? There's an unusual stalemate in the air. I can feel that these creatures deeply loathe each other, but they both refuse to strike. Holy Hound himself! It's not just his herald, it's the Lord of the Hunt! Here! So, Kana, what do folks in Rawatai do? Object that comes along? Or is that just what you do when abroad?
Tekoa may be more traditional.
Slow and silent. Ain't I'm on the trail.
If you say so. That'll do. Oh, look at here. Got it done.
Builder's wisdom to you.
As your blood flows, so shall your essence. Your life's energy shall feed the soil, and your soul's energy shall enrich the community. This is by your own choosing, supplicant? No one comes to Blood Sands without a purpose. What is yours? Since when do the gods send mortals to collect? You're much too talkative to be the usher. This is the trouble with deities. They meddle in a world that they don't even inhabit. I hope they've promised you something better for your next life. Where they
Ah.
Estremor.
We can't Just how are we supposed to worship?
Calm yourself. We should be grateful that she protected us from the winged terror. A vision from the goddess herself? What a rare... Why, she's the goddess of song, art, the sky, and...
Aye, and in the screams of...
This is true, which is...
You hear this, Wag?
Relax, Anuin.
The figurine. It's glowing.
I shall be quiet as a calm.
Estremor.
You mock us? Even the keepers of...
Auric's shadow. Any closer and you'll bleed out. I never thought I'd prepared myself to meet a stranger. To share the honor and history of my village with someone who had no knowledge of us. Even someone who'd scorn our way of life. I was going to tell him about the years of abundance in Masuk. How his granddaughters have hunted caribou, and his grandsons made our walls strong. But he'll be gone in minutes. He must know that Masuk remembers him.
If you've finished your chanting, we need to get to work before the meat spoil.
Did your elders teach you even a mouse dropping's worth of decency? There will be other kills to dress and eat, but there will only be this one chance for Sagani to say her due respects.
Have you no respect? A great soul inhabited this body.
And it's gone now. What's left is our kill.
I want nothing from the tongues of these carrion eaters. Coming from people who revere stones and long-dead Audra.
It's not just worshipping stones, you fool. It's about respect for what was built by those who came before you. Persak means to you what those long-dead Audra mean to us.
She slanders the builders. You Estramoran are full...
Deadle!
I have them!
I'll stay out of sight.
A deer in the middle of Air Glonfoth. But I'm glad I can bring this success back to Masuk. And perhaps Persak will return to us one day because of it. To be honest, the biggest relief is knowing that my journey was worthwhile. That finding Persak and carrying our village's story to him will strengthen our community and return his soul to us. I'm looking for... What do you think? Do you feel as though you understand the purpose behind your hunt for Theos? Those reasons can make all the difference. Anyway, Theos isn't getting any closer.
Good. Permettkong swoli. I'm ready. Good. Permettkong swoli.
Ain't that special?
My, that is large.
Vermin invading my nest, threatening my hatchling. You shall feed my young.
Where the veins on Saru?
Ah. Ready, Watcher. Right.
Gelade, well done. A formidable fortress in the old style. We don't build them like this anymore, you know. Not by the sea. Too vulnerable to cannons.
Farewell. Ready, Watcher.
If you say so.
Hope you're not expecting much. See you when I see you.
About blazing time!
We saw you go up the mountain.
She means to say that we're both very...
Yes, of course, that too. Praise the Sky Mother and thanks to you.
And the Queen of Birds saw fit to...
What brings you here?
Builder's wisdom to you.
hounds.
If it makes you rest easier.
Arensi has no right to defend that coward.
Then track her down and tell her yourself.
Because she holes up at the back of the maw, surrounded by her. We wait for the big confrontation. But the wait grows exhausting, while Sul hides.
I'll take a look.
Silence surrounds me.
I'll let go. I'll let
I can do that.
Let's burn this away!
I'm on the trail.
I'll let Margaret I'll let Margaret fire! Fine. If you stand on the side of that toothless old bag of bones, then you stand in my way.
If it makes you rest easier.
Kareth, this is no place for sightseeing. They won't fight. It is not Gallowayne's work.
The chill of Rimergon's oblivion.
I'll stay out of sight.
I think it may be time to
Last
strike
thing
up
the
camp.
Deerwood needs is another foreign colony.
Gores.
Not as beautiful as the fortress is impressive in its own little way.
Good day to you.
Last thing the deer would need.
Still and silent. It's finally over.
Here's a lesson to be taught. Bye.
Will they? I have. Them.
Last thing the Deerwood needs is another foreign colony. You can trust me.
Greetings.
Amazing. You could fit a whole village in here. Greetings, Estremor. You are among the Ovates of the Golden Grove.
And counted on your silent acceptance of such commands, no doubt. What is a god that his voice should carry so far? And what...
Wind. I need to smell like part of nature, not an interloper.
I'll take a look.
Fine.
If you say so. Got it done. If you say so.
Death take you!
Let's... I have...
Ain't that special? You gotta see this. If you say so, that'll do.
I'll let Margaret.
If you say so, that'll do. If you say so, that'll do. You gotta see this. That'll do.
What have you done? This useless slaughter, Please, just let me finish what we came here to do. Rimergon's domain. A place where all things are mingled like snowflakes in a blizzard. It's a vortex of such chaos that even the beast of winter himself could not calculate the trajectory of the infinite particles of essence there. As souls are broken down, the frost-hewn breach is a weak spot in the barrier between us and the white void. Thin ice on a frozen lake, so that we can die permanently. We've lived more lifetimes than any mortal should. We've been faithful followers of Rimergon since our earliest incarnations. He's the god of entropy. Why would he... But if anything could pass through the frost-hewn breach, it would enter directly into the white void. This death is overdue for us.
Tread carefully, Estremor.
Oh?
Fine.
What do you wish to know?
The same way that you are no doubt able to peer into the ether and experience, you share certain similarities with the man you pursue. For your sake, I pray they are—
We will tell you what we can. Behind us is Ter Evron, said to peer until we meet again.
You journeyed to my temple and rid it of the dragon. Now my faithful may return, singing their joy to the skies and praising me through their creation. Glad because you seek to protect life, or because you seek a patron. And yet you have proven yourself with this task. I would tell you of another. You must stop Theos, and you must undo the tragedy he has wrought. When you reach the Burial Isle, you will find souls there that I have granted reprieve for their sins. I give these to you, for only they can bear you to safety on your journey down. And when you face Theos and the rotting fruits of his endeavors, remember the conversation we have had. In that moment you will have power rivaling a god's, and after it, you will live in the world that you have chosen. Choose Restoration, Watcher. Return the souls to the bodies they were stolen from.
A toll, traveler. You met a dwarf traveling this road. What did you do? Life is kinetic. Forward motion. 100 beginnings and endings nested within 1,000,000 more. You found a tree that had lived for centuries. Its roots were deep, and its boughs sheltered many. Why did you cut it down? Nothing is self-sustaining. All draw their life's energy from the deaths of others. This is why all must remain part of the cycle of death and rebirth. You seek always the practical, straightforward answer. But the only resolution is a clean slate. An end that leads to a new beginning. No mortal can survive the descent into the pit. But there are souls on the Burial Isle that are pledged to me.
Tread carefully. Let my face be a warning sign to always treat Galawain and his messengers with caution and reverence.
You have slain 2 mighty hunters. Blood flows in the maw, yet no victor emerges. Why have you denied me my champion? Ah, fresh blood. The new feast on the carcass of the old, grows strong from the other's weakness. You sought and won the favor of Galawain. What new prey? To track a quarry, you must understand its movements. And Theos follows the path of a more powerful master.
Let him know his foe.
Theos has trapped thousands of souls in sun and shadow like rabbits in a snare. Now, he goes there to retrieve the kill for his master Woodica. She will feast on them, suck their marrow, grow strong on their essence. Because he is her hound, he has always done her bidding.
Woodica stands for an old order. So does Theos.
They both fear change, and the Deerwood has changed much recently. People find answers not in the gods, but in animancy, the product of their own labors.
And why not? When they have learned that even a god can be killed.
Track Theos. Follow the trail he has left for you.
You must stop him before he empowers Woodica.
And if you do, you will have a different decision to make.
I have a really bad feeling that this decision is a trap. I mean, how often do the gods really leave the decisions up to mortals like us?
Souls were ripped from the world, ripe and full and pulsing with essence. Scatter them like bones to a pack of dogs. Their essence will strengthen the souls of the Deerwood. To breed strength, power is
What Theos did cannot be undone. Thousands of lives have changed, and thousands more have ended because of his actions.
And improvement is the goal of all Kith. Long lives.
Essence cannot remain in a dead body, any more than oil in a broken jar. Even though the stolen lives cannot be preserved, thus the memory and vision of the lost may live beyond them. A victory that leaves her ruler of all. No room for conflict, no struggle.
Be careful what you wish for, mortal. Woodica's ways are regressive. Her laws never change, her authority never ebbs, and she never forgets a slight.
Woodica would crush the Deerwood simply out of vengeance for the rebellion against Adir, her favorite. She would stamp out animancers, godslayers from the Saints' War.
And when you descend the pit to sun in shadow, you can count on our assistance to see you safely through. As I hope we can count on yours.
Hunt him, mortal. And when you stop him, let the souls he has captured
strengthen the souls of those who remain. Prepare them to face the challenges.
Betray us, and my beast shall track you down.
My friend, this is a most auspicious moment. The Lord of the Hunt has spoken to you without omission or riddles. Heed what he said about his beast seeking you out should you stray from the...
The bargain is struck, what? A crack in the ice. A fissure in a glacier. I showed you the frost-hewn breach that you might seal it. But you pried it wider for the sake of the Glom felon, whose souls I had not yet begun to hew away. For all things there is a season. The pitiless mechanisms of decline do not unsettle you as they do most mortals. The slowly freezing winter and the famine that destroy.
I did not expect we would meet again so soon. You destroyed the army that threatened your life. I gave you the means to solve your problem. Be grateful I allowed you to survive the ordeal. What is it you seek? Your past is one of loss and sorrow. The key to it is that—
Yet there is a greater plot at work here, Watcher.
Theos is a winter gale, unseen by the world even while he—
And Animancy as well. He would see those secrets lost.
And he would see his mistress grow fat on the essence.
To consume them, to collect her evaporating power, rebuilding what the turning ages have stripped from her.
She would reclaim her status like an island of silt dredged from the sea.
With this fresh, raw essence, Boudica will seize power.
Theos has removed these souls from the cycle. They are ice melting in the sun.
Let them forget this world and be forgotten by it.
Take the souls she so desires and grind them into dust. Let her see her careful.
It is the destiny of all things to crumble and join—
To mingle, roiled and stirred by the tides of the universe. It is not an unkind fate.
I am the beast of winter. I neither speed nor alter.
These souls, they have already forgotten.
She desires to order chaos and shackle.
Even now, she only barely keeps the pact of the gods to leave the affairs of Kith in mortal hands.
And so we call on you to do this.
When you reach the burial isle, we will—
And whether you would heed us or no, understand that our end comes to all things eventually. Help us achieve—
But do not choose lightly. We forget nothing, least of all a betrayal.
What is it, Watcher? It stinks of her. It is justice, but if her greater purpose was to think Margaret would fall prey to such deceit. And Aethys, Widewind had always claimed to be invading Deerwood to free it. What if it were true? What if he had come to stop Boudica's plot before it began? Surely Aethys earned his death at Godhammer Citadel, but not for those reasons. Not to keep him silent. If such a thing, must we always be tools of gods? If Boudica, and so many lies, and Boudica, perhaps she is the next god to fall beneath the Godhammer. No, I am glad to have walked this far with you, seen this truth. Perhaps it was what I was meant to see. All these dances of words and intrigues, machines of men, to Boudica. She must answer to her own justice. Anyone with a shred of spirit seeks both justice and punishment. It burns in the heart of any— Is this some final joke at my expense? To test my faith further? And why would you think that? If all you have are questions, then I have enough of those. She is a bitch of a— You answer a question with a question. Then why did I— Kill me? She is a goddess. I still drink from her burning breasts, Watcher. If she— There's no proof, Watcher. I was a fool to think you could help me see any farther than I could. They died in the blast, yes. The other 11. Walk away. I thought... To think I served her, I followed her. Now I shall serve no one. Woodica's lies must be answered. And now it seems I must take fire in war from a goddess's false claim as well. For I have learned one of the lessons of the faithful. The faithful may wound a goddess greater than any enemy. A purification is coming, and this fire... Stop right there! You're in the wrong city, Inquisitor. Did you think you wouldn't be recognized here in your old home? I've seen your trials with my own eyes.
Suros, what are you doing?
An assassin sent by the Inquisition, my lady.
Surely this is some trick of my mind. I did not... I would like for you to stay here.
My Lady Ivara, I beg of you. This is an Inquisitor. This is a desperate attempt on your life.
This is a missionary, same as I was. Taught the wrong things as I was. If I...
My lady,
That should make him less of a threat, wouldn't you? We have many former missionaries here. They are our most loyal, our most helpful.
Amazing. You could fit a whole village in here.
May Wal watch your step.
If you say so.
Farewell.
Hope you're not expecting much.
I'm ready.
All right, then.
I have heard terrible things. I worried you would not return. Is it true that there are riots in Defiance Bay, and that Avar Wolfgren has been slain? It seems your fame is spreading. I have heard travelers speaking of your accomplishments in Defiance Bay. I trust all is well.
Gods keep you.
Last thing the Deerwood needs.
Hope I didn't seem ungrateful back there in the battlefield. And you went out of your way. Got real close. Didn't expect that. Foolish, of course.
And why should I get answers? There's a world of faith. Guess you'd know that well as anyone. I might have turned my back on my God when he needed me. That's all I'll ever know. His actions didn't seem righteous enough for a god. Something to think about, I guess.
Last thing the deer...
All right, then. This does look like Theos' kind of place.
That fort burned. I don't.
Where they? I have them!
Varathus! That's it!
You're not getting through me.
Where they? Ansawu! Where they?
Yes?
All right, then.
Ansawu!
Another turn, Inquisitor. I ask again, Jovara Ixensios, do you confess to these heresies of which you stand accused? Do you confess to apostasy?
I confess to renouncing a mistake.
Do you confess to conspiracy against the one true faith?
I confess to opening minds.
Do you confess to false prophecy?
I confess to following a false prophet.
Indeed. And where might we find this heretic?
He wears the robes of a Grand Inquisitor.
You have no followers here, heretic. Your lies hold no sway in the court of the penitents.
Only my truth, then.
Another turn.
No! Wait! Wait! I'm ready. I'm ready.
You are ready to give a confession?
I'm ready to hear one from you.
Leave it to me! Leave it to... I have
When you get to the bottom, holler up here. Let me know if it's safe.
After what seems like an eternity, your rapid descent comes to an abrupt end. You remain still for a moment while your heart settles and your eyes adjust.
breathing in stale, forgotten air. Before you, a narrow and eroded walkway becomes faintly visible in the dim light, cutting a winding path through a cavern so expansive it seems a world unto itself. In the distance, you can make out the cold gleam of living Adra veins that spike and fork in and out of view from the murky depths beneath. Their glow a faint and fleeting guide along the ancient trail. You look above at the opening you jumped through, now barely a speck of light like some distant star alone in the cosmos and forever out of reach. Your only way lies ahead.
Well, that went better than I expected.
Eyes open.
Everyone all right? No shattered knees? Good. Just me, then.
That's bracing.
Laying low.
Margaren's fire casts light in darkness.
Leave it to me!
This isn't what... And what does the flame reveal?
I'm ready.
That's it!
Leave it to me! You're not getting through me. Of course. Nice and quiet.
Leave it to me!
Following your lead.
Of course.
I'll give it a try, at least.
So my love returns to me at long last. You are so different now from who you were then, yet much remains the same. Old troubles with a new face. What is it that has brought a gallant gesture, if a bit misguided? And yet I suspect there is more to this than you have said. I can only guess your presence here has something to do with Theos. The energy of this place changes when he is near. I don't know what he has done, but I do know of the souls that pass through here now. They do not come by choice. After all this time, he would still stand against the tide. I will tell you what I remember. I can see his influence, still hanging like a weight about your neck. So it always was. He had inspired something in you. We spoke of him the last time you were here also. It was just after the trial. You were agitated. I think because you started to... that the gods aren't real.
Huh. I dreaded the idea from the moment the Delimgon suggested it. And yet, it almost feels like a relief. She's not serious.
Huh. Perhaps not to her. Many are those whom the gods have...
There's a theory puts my boldest to shame.
What I taught was that the gods whose faith we had been spreading were not gods at all, but something else entirely. Something created by people. They were conceived by Engwyth, a society of high minds and broad concerns. Theos's people. In their time, every people worshipped its own gods. Sometimes they warred over it. After a few wars of their own, the Engwythans sought an end to generation after generation. They prodded and worked the stitching of the world and unlocked its secrets. One day, they found it shook them, this finding. If they could discover this on their own, how long until others would? How long before war and chaos reigned over a world without consequence? But they had mastered many things in their pursuit of these answers. And with their mastery, they crafted their own gods to fill the void, and sent the Engwythan missionaries all knew it, but they never told the rest of us. They meant it to be a secret that died with them, and in the end, they allowed their bloodlines to fade from memory. I had been assigned to join a few of them at a temple. I found the door to their chambers closed, but the room was stone and the door thin. Their voices carried. I heard... I never thought of it as faith, but I think you are right to call it that. Let the world see. Let them decide what to do. That was my faith. I became a missionary because the gods brought me hope that I wanted to bring to others. For a time, the truth sent me to a dark place. Then the day came when I realized nothing had changed, that I still had a purpose, and the purpose was the same and it was worth living for. I began questioning the other missionaries in public, exposing their parlor tricks. In time, their following became mine. You asked me this once before. Nothing I can say would be any proof, and it may be certainty your soul craves. Resolution. But if you are bound for the same place Theos directs these souls, you will see for yourself as you once did. Everyone faces this truth at one time or another. Few confront it. Few have the stomach to ask what if. What if all the tragedy, all the persecution, came in defense of an imposter?
But that's not... That can't be right. Aethys, he's done miracles for people.
The power of the gods is undeniable. The truth of the story they weave is not. What if it were forbidden knowledge rather than fault that earned your doom? What?
I have seen with my own eyes the deceptions of my goddess. The Watcher has shown me as much. But it was not until now that I understood how truly desperate she was. The depths of her deception.
You speak of her deceptions, but what of your own? Was it her words that led you down your path? Or was it the absence of her words? A gap that you filled with your own broken thoughts? What if you had always been alone, without guidance?
Well, as poorly as I've chosen my guides, I suppose it would be a comfort to know that I'm free of them.
The freedom has always been. It was the guidance that was the illusion. If all our common threads are spun from a lie, what's left to bind us together?
For thousands of years, the Angwithan lie clouded our sight. How can we claim there is no other way when we never had the opportunity to discover one? There are answers out there still, in places we've never thought to look.
What if even mastery over all things cannot answer the most basic of questions?
I stopped asking those questions long ago. It is enough to care for those we love with the time we have in this life.
The wheel would seem to grant us little choice in the matter. Yet surely we are capable of more than mere endurance. Surely when the truth is laid bare to all, I ask these things not to trouble you, but to show why they must be confronted. No answer is simple, but somewhere between them all lies a truth so beautiful, not even a god could conceive it. Do we not owe ourselves a chance? If that is truly what you believe, then you are a far different person than the one I knew. I've been alone here with my thoughts for so long now. I've found peace with my failures and with my punishment. I no longer curse fate for what might have been. But there is one thing that has clawed and scraped at my mind all these years. I need to know why you chose to remain with the Inquisition, even after you'd learned the truth. Do you remember? I think maybe I suspected. I just didn't want to believe it, not from you. When you showed up at my camp that day, I thought it would be like it had been before. I was careless. If you resented me then, I bear the blame. Good. Good. The things I taught, the things I believed, I needed to hear that. I needed to know it wasn't because... of all that I loved you for, it was your righteousness most of all. You had heard both sides, seen everything. If not you, then who? I expected dissent, but I needed to know that true faith would prevail. Perhaps I've been wrong to place so much importance on one person's actions. Even knowing what you've told me, some part of me knows it doesn't truly answer what I wished to know, nor will an eternity of silent contemplation. And what of your understanding of our past? Are you at ease with the choice you made? I have always forgiven you. Though I didn't know your reason, I knew you. I knew we had had something wonderful once. Looking back at that has helped me through these many years. At first I thought this might be the source of your soul's anguish. But now I see I was mistaken. You are not divided on this matter. You have put it behind you. It is with Theos that your agony lies, in sun and shadow. Your questions are not... Yet if there is anything I can tell you that would be of use, ask and you shall know. In a matter of speaking. This is Braeth Yamen, the court of the penitents. Souls are confined here until they repent. They must beg the forgiveness of a god, pledge their soul to them, and they will be lifted from... This prison was full once in the days of the Inquisition. But time weathers all things. They aid you because they would bend you to their own purposes. Engwith built gods from ideals, but these souls... These forgiven the gods have bequeathed you like chattel. Last time someone asked me that, I was bound to an iron wheel with a broken spine. There are many things I've come to doubt about the choices I made. The gods need to be reminded that we have a spirit, and that spirit is... I could not say for sure, but you have been to Sun and Shadow before, and it came at a crossroads in your life, when much of what you knew had been upended. His words mattered to you when you knew him then. He cares only for the secret he keeps locked away. He destroys anyone who might... That's why he's always favored Woodica. It isn't in her love of promises or justice. It's her disregard for the rules. Her willingness to do what is necessary. To Theos, she's not a deity, but an ally with which to conspire. If Theos succeeds, there will be a shift in the battle. You will not find a more resolute being on all of Eora. Theos will not wait for you. If you do not catch up to him now, you may never find him again. If I repent, all I have done has meant nothing. I am grateful you came and found me here, no matter the circumstances. You're not exactly who you once were, I have to remind myself. But seeing you one last time, I suppose I have waited long enough, and I do not wish to delay you any further.
Of course.
Leave it to me!
That's not very helpful.
That's it!
So, it's true. The gods are a sham that people have followed for thousands of years.
Doesn't that just beat all? Here I was, wondering all this time whether all these terrible things were people's fault or the gods. Turns out they might be the same thing. Wonder how things would have gone different 15 years ago if the Raid Sarens had been told their god was made in some forge or kiln someplace. Would we still have gone to war? I could see the rebellion still happening, but I don't know that they would have invaded. I don't know. When Woden left for war, we, had a fight about him going off to war. He was set on it. My parents warned him. They said you get a new country with every trip across the border, but your god, you only get the one. Me? I didn't know who was right. All I knew was I didn't want him to go. I said every vicious thing I could think of, trying to change his mind. He brushed it off. Just got me madder, of course, him being so calm. He said I should come with him, but he'd understand if I didn't. By the time I'd cooled off, months had passed. One morning it dawns on me that my brother always knew better than me. If he crossed my mind. You live in a place like Gilded Vale. I hope that wasn't it. I hope if I'd have left with him, we'd both be dead, so... He asked me to trust him the day he left. Raid Saris is a long way to walk on. Still one more mess we gotta straight.
We've been lied to. Our whole lives, and many lives before that. And it's led us to put our faith in a pantheon of gods that never deserved it in the first place. You're right. People will be better off finding direction on their own than following this farce. Besides, the gods haven't exactly done much to prevent...
The slaughter seems to come whether there's a god involved or not. If it wasn't a god justifying it, it'd...
I've also been thinking... There won't be much left of Theos by the time you're done with him, if I know how you operate. That will leave the leaden key headless. Perhaps it's best it stays that. This is unexpected coming from you. Why keep it going? Then let's face Theos. When this is all over, I'll remember what we've been through. I'll see the leaden key transformed into a stronger, better guide for Kith. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't we note a rather sharp drop somewhere around here?
All right, then.
Full of surprises, aren't you?
Look at that. A city to put all others to shame. And long lost.
We light our own path now, Watcher.
Can you do that again? I had something in my eye. I missed most of it.
Were they?
That's not very good. something else!
All right, then.
You understand the value of a mystery watcher, a buried scroll, a hidden truth. These are my ways. You unravel a thread, watcher, one you have lost and discovered over generations, and following it to its a nebula of souls, blind and brimming with potential. The answer to Woodika's question and the beginning of yours. What would you do with them? In a way. But something must be done, and hurling them from the machinery of other schemes is the truth. None know. They could end up anywhere in the realms of gods or mortals, whole or divided. No end, Watcher. That is a word for endings, and this is but a crossroads. Even I do not know what you would choose.
That's not very helpful.
Leave it!
you ready to take the oath? To spread the word of the gods? I am trusting you to remain loyal. If you would, I wouldn't ask this were there any other choice.
This is a missionary, Oceanus. They have held up.
You are ready to give a confession?
I am ready to hear one from you.
You are far from your post, Inquisitor. What brings you here? We are in a sanctum holy to Utica. There are others like it in service to the other gods. I come here often to pray for her counsel, and in this space I may be assured that she... That woman sought only to destroy the foundations of peace and civility, that my people sacrificed everything. It has many uses, but its purpose is to bring structure. They are monuments to Utica's greatest servants among my people. I hope to join them myself one day. The Inquisition was based on the need to cut the flesh from a rotting wound. What is a god? A higher power? A rewarder of good deeds and punisher of the wicked? Something men can turn to in their darkest moments when their days seem only like bridges from one tragedy to the next. Our gods are... We are in a sacred place within earshot of the gods themselves. This is not the time. You will return home and you will rest. When you feel you have recovered, you may rejoin us at the trials. The Inquisition is far from over, and I will have need of you. There are many who continue to spread the lies of the apostate. How did you find it? Another in a string of acts of petty defiance. For all her knowledge, she always preferred spite over reason. Then she should have obeyed. I ask one thing of all my followers. She was incapable. A waste of rare... What of your cohorts, then? They have followed you to their deaths. Is it loyalty that brings them here? You worshipped Aethys, did you not?
Your spies are good. What gave me away? The cape?
Yet when your god needed you the most, you chose your country.
We were being invaded. Not by anyone who was acting like a god.
Then I should think your hometown gave you a hero's welcome when you returned.
Well, they made cake.
The gods argue over how best to prevent Kith society from destroying itself. You have devoted yourself to studying the work of my...
I thought your people had much to teach us. That we too could create great machines, improve our ships.
And did you ever consider that these were things you were never meant to understand? That their comprehension is beyond you? You are living in the time of my people, Amawa. You owe them more than you will ever... Greater civilizations than yours have attempted to reclaim what we buried. The greater their successes, the worse their fates in... You built a weapon that delivered...
I served my goddess as you...
Yet the other builders were slain. 11 of a dozen. Why not you? Were you somehow...
Whatever desire I had to be redeemed in her eyes was weakness, purged by the Watcher's sight.
Or was it merely that your goddess wanted you dead as well, and your delusions of importance prevented you from seeing the obvious?
A whore's beguiling charms, nothing more. But the spell's broke now, Theos. The trial's over. I know friend from foe.
You were able to destroy a god because another god wished it. Without her hand to guide you, you could not strike at a god any more than you could... I understand your Duke's bells gave you a mission.
Their orders do not absolve me of my greater responsibility to the same...
Yet you disobeyed. Something you already have a reputation for. They will know, of course. If it had been for a worthy cause, they might have forgiven you. But I don't see them...
The parents scold, but the children are safe. Whether animancy research continues in the Republics or not, they... In any case, I wouldn't be so smug about my fate, Theos. I imagine Woodica responds to disappointment much more severely than even my dukes.
State your name and purpose, young acolyte.
My name belongs to the gods, and my hand to their service.
You serve none but yourself. Without contact with your order, you can have no higher purpose. Only the base
No. I've risen above them. I'll take the leaden key and lead in a way that you...
A leader without insight, directing an organization that does not question. Quite a vision. You are here because you are lost. The gods cannot reach everyone, I'm afraid. I gather you have had your soul awakened. Why else would you shadow my footsteps like some stray mongrel? You think I have something to offer you, but our business was concluded long ago. You think your abilities only flow in one direction. That isn't... I answered your questions once. That your soul is not fit to accept the answers is of little concern to me. I lied. The heart of this country has skipped a beat. Nothing more. I have done far worse. I plunged the peaceful kingdom of Telosus into civil war. I slew them all. When plague arrived at the great city of Arborensis, I saw to it that the cure did not. It is to show the proper perspective. There was a time, back when your soul was still a shapeless mist, when the world believed only in false gods. But all that changed when they learned of the true gods. Our gods. No person can overcome his instincts by himself. Only with the aid of a god, someone he will respect and... Have you imagined this existence? The one the apostate would have created. We are not all so virtuous as she. Without our gods, the most wicked... But more than that, it would be a hollow existence. It is the least of all possible costs. Are you so dense as to think a faithless world would not be ridden with calamity? All I have seen, the millennia of experience. I will not be dissuaded from this course. This is the only way. We are all controlled by our own doubt. With your soul and thousands of others, I will see... Hear me, Woodica. Roak 10!
Something else.
Let's go that rock!
attention.
That's not right.
Must be undeniable. I need to...
Forgive me.
All those lifetimes spent to preserve a single vital secret. I can't imagine having that much certainty.
That's the servant down, and the mistress still to go. A good start, worthy of being built upon.
In his own way, Theos must have truly believed he was caring for the people of Eora, protecting them from themselves. A shame his soul won't have a chance to reflect.
He was good at serving his god, I give him that. He should have picked a better one.
All those lives. And at the end of them, he was no better than the very people he sought to guide.
An end to doubt and certainty alike.
It is an ending, even if there is little justice in it.
Theos, he had hold of your soul from a long time back, seems like. You get what you needed from him? More than most can say. Country's still full of people who are dangerous when they're scared. You'll be feeling better soon then. Good. That's real good. You got it figured out what you're going to do about all that? Got a lot of people out there thinking they've been abandoned by their gods. There's not much that'll put the fear in you more than that. If it was in my power, and I know it's not, but if it was, I'd send every last one of those souls right back where they were supposed to go in the first place. So folks could get back to believing what they used to. And after what you've been through, though, I'm sure you got your own ideas. Better make it good.
So much for Theos, then. Now you have a chance to set things right, back to the proper order of things. It will take the Deerwood generations to recover.
Ah, the end of the road greets us at last. You fared well, Watcher. Better than any Watcher has right to. Seems you were a field in need of a flame's cleansing. Would that my own trial had produced such an outcome. I had figured myself for the field all this time. But you were the field, and I the darkness. A lesson neither of Durance nor of Margarin. But with that trial's end, a new one begins. A god's trial. And I will stand in judgment without mercy.
We've come to the end of it, my friend. It has been an honor to walk this road with you, and I will regret our parting.
Astounding. I always knew the Leaden Key stood for something big, but I didn't quite realize what I'd gotten myself into. And now, you're in the middle of something even bigger. With a decision that will affect millions. This is beyond either of us. The certainty of the gods is a mercy. Power like this is a heavy burden. It's your decision, of course. And whatever you decide, I'm glad our paths crossed in Gilded Vale.
You know something of quiet servitude, Watcher. Groveling and simpering before the gods whose aid you need, so that when they finally raise you to a place of power, you can seize what you desire. You have labored at the pleasure of others, that shriveled hag in Hadrit House, those preening soldiers with more taste for silk than steel, the wretched tribesmen playing out their fantasies of grandeur. And then you cowered and knelt before the gods themselves, begging one paltry favor and receiving riddles and visions in response. And now the gods give you orders and commands, even while you set out to fix what they cannot. Yet what have they offered you? The exiled queen is not an ungrateful patron. Finish the work Theos began. Strengthen Woodica with these souls and allow her to become the most powerful of all the gods. with you as her favored. You say that now, but when you're standing in front of the machine, considering the lifetimes and the powers that await.
At your command, the ancient device became your instrument, spinning to life with deafening resonance and gathering up the swirling essence like thread on a great spindle. There, in the pale, pulsing glow of the machine that set you on this path long ago, you summoned all your strength, focusing on your objective and blocking out all else. With a single concussive blast that rocked the chamber and sent you tumbling to the ground, you freed the souls from their stasis. Exhausted, your consciousness slipping away, your last sight was of the machine, dark and dormant. Then your eyes closed, and sleep welcomed you at long last. After coming to and searching for some time, you discovered the route Theos used to enter Sun in Shadow, and embarked on a long and arduous ascent back to the surface. You emerged in Ter Evron after days of tunneling through the rubble Theos had left behind, and when you stepped into the daylight, you were faced with a different Deerwood than the one you had left. At your direction, the essence gathered in Sun and Shadow was sent across Deerwood to meld with and galvanize the souls of its people. In the days that followed, Deerwoodans, confronting adversity and expecting to be at the mercy of their own weakness, instead found strength and the will to persevere. The aggrieved found themselves able to carry on after their losses. The desperate found new reasons to hope. And the new reasons to hope were many, for Widewind's legacy had come to an end after 15 years. Hollow births ceased in the Deerwood, and a country that only days ago had seemed on the brink of collapse was suddenly on the path to a recovery, a fitter, more resilient country in the preferred image of the god of the hunt. Helia, who had expected the souls to be returned to the Hollowborn, was infuriated by your duplicity. The goddess of motherhood demanded new births in compensation, and made a bargain with Berith to trade death for new life. The skies of Deerwood darkened, blotted with swarms of birds and other winged creatures, called together to claim what the Sky Mother believed to be hers by right. For months, the people of Deerwood were forced to stay under shelter for fear of the vicious, unexplained attacks from the sky. The incidents left entire villages decimated and littered the streets of Defiance Bay with corpses covered in 1,000 puncture wounds. The loss of the souls you had promised to Entropy would be no setback to Remergand, nor to Andra, for the Beast of Winter trudges ever forward, and the will of the Lady of Lament is as unstoppable as the tide. In Deerwood, the weather quickly chilled. Unseasonable frosts destroyed the year's harvests before giving way to the coldest winter in memory. Many who survived the famine would soon freeze to death in their own homes. The oceans proved no safer. A barrage of squalls pounded the harbors along the Deerwooden coast for months, sending many ships to be forever lost in the depths of Ondra's domain, either mourned or forgotten, both to the lady's liking. Followers of Berith have a saying that life is a debt all must pay in death, and their god is known to always collect what is owed. In breaking your word to Berith, a debt was created. Souls were owed to the cycle, and the agents of the god of inevitability would not be refused. An epidemic of unexplained deaths struck Deerwood in the days that followed the legacy. Most often, the dead would be travelers on the road, known to be a favorite target of Berith's pallid knight, who exacts impossible tolls from those who have journeyed for too long. The elderly, too, seemed to pass on in alarming numbers. But just as often, the deaths appeared to strike randomly, and for no reason at all. Those who sensed the involvement of the twinned god dubbed the calamity Berith's price, supposing it a payment for the end of Widewind's legacy. Lord Radric's zeal had brought him back to life once, but it would not do so again. Radric's destruction at your hands spelled the end of his suffocating rule over Gilded Vale and the surrounding area. In his absence, the village prospered, becoming a popular destination for new settlers anxious to leave Defiance Bay after the riots. Without a nearby ruler, it also grew more wild, with many settlers moving on as soon as they'd arrived, turned off by lawlessness that was excessive even by Deerwooden standards. Nevertheless, despite the challenges of living there, Gilded Vale had survived, and would continue to survive for the foreseeable future. Following the assassinations of Duke Avar Wolfgren and Lady Webb, Defiance Bay was thrown into political upheaval. In the ensuing weeks, the streets had become the domain of looters and blackguards. Few dared to step outside their own doors alone or unarmed. But order was soon re-established by the Knights of the Crucible, who, despite their depleted numbers, had gained favor in the public eye for their role in unraveling Widewind's legacy. They were quickly reinforced by returning forces from Fleetbreaker Castle. Having seen both the ills and the promise of animancy, internally the Knights quietly began a more cautious exploration of the new science. Depleted in numbers but bolstered by their newly forged stock of soul-augmented weaponry and a small contingent of forged knights, the Knights of the Crucible would soon become an order few in Defiance Bay would dare to cross. But the opportunity to build upon their newfound power proved too great a temptation for the High Justice. What was at first a measured approach to animancy soon gave way to a rapid buildup of armaments. The High Justice would eventually seize control of the city for his order and place Defiance Bay under indefinite martial law. Though the machine atop Ter Noaneth had been drained of its accumulated essence, the machine had not seen its last use. Heritage Hill was rebuilt, and no sooner had the first families moved in to resettle the district than members of the Leaden Key, acting under standing orders from their Grand Master, climbed the tower and reactivated the machine. The initiates slew a handful of the new settlers under cover of night and watched as history repeated itself, the victims reanimating and devouring the survivors. After this second incident, the district would remain abandoned. The Duke's assassination at the apparent hands of an animancer had caused catastrophic rioting in the streets of Defiance Bay. But those who had escaped the melee in the palace hearings remembered the testimonies of the strange guest who had shown up that day and absolved animancy, implicating the Leaden Key instead. The rumor spread quickly, and soon the popular belief was that the assassin had been a Leaden Key spy. When the legacy had lifted, people came to see it not as a sign that the riots had been according to the god's wishes, as Theos had hoped, but as a confirmation that animancy had never been the source of the problem in the first place. Deerwoodens instead convinced themselves that the riots had somehow purged Defiance Bay of Leaden Key spies, and that the end of Widewind's legacy was their well-deserved reward. The rage against animancers was quickly forgotten, and those who had survived were permitted to return to Brackenbury Sanitarium and rebuild it so they might resume their studies. The town of Deerford had seen the last of the cult of Scan. Dark rumors about the town's many curses quickly faded, and travelers soon returned. Abidon's renewal brought new vigor and purpose to a god long known for quiet, steady labor. Handicraft saw a revival in the Deerwood, and no smith wanted for an apprentice. Additionally, Abidon's restored interest in preservation led to redoubled efforts to survey Engwithan ruins. Animancers and craftsmen alike found much to study, but tensions with Eir Glanfath rose. As for Stalwart, the Battle of Caeron's Scar only strengthened their resolve to unlock the mysteries of Durgan steel and build new marvels with the White Forge. However, Stalwart's ambitions brought them into further conflict with the Raid Serans, as more and more impoverished communities gathered at the border and vowed to finish the work of the Iron Flail. It would be many generations before the region saw peace. The Flames That Whisper clan found a cautious peace with Stalwart, particularly once the villagers heard of the aid the ogres had offered against the Eyeless. The clan moved back into the Russet Wood, and as Stalwart grew in prestige, the villagers formed a tighter alliance with their ogre neighbors. Within a generation, ogre traders visited Stalwart, and village hunters were welcome in the Russet Wood. Harmka's death had brought the Devil of Carrick little satisfaction. In time, her taste for vengeance soured. What replaced it was a hunger to feel something, anything, new. Summer had thinned the snowpack twice over when she felt the joint at her elbow first begin to stiffen. She turned her back on the hopes of animancy and civilization and walked east. She pushed through the mountains, past Raid Ceres, and into the broad plains of Ishamiddle. She had forgotten what it was like to simply journey, no goal or destination in mind. Though she felt nothing more than the steady thump of her feet on the road, the endless horizons and grassy meadows were new to her. She measured her time in the gradual rusting of her body and was satisfied. Her movements slowed, but so did the world around her. Waist-high grasses undulated and tacked in the wind, as gradual as the tides. Sparrows and blackjays made steady pilgrimages across the sky, each flap of their wings a solemn salute. She could hardly move when she found something she had never seen before, the ocean. With the last of her strength, she pulled herself beneath the water, content at last to feel the movement of currents and the constant caress of the waves. Once Maneha had made peace with her memory, she decided the time had come to face her more recent past. For the first time in decades, she returned home to Rawatai, and she found that it had changed as much as she had. New districts had sprung up along the coast, while others withered into crumbling husks, and the streets had changed their course as surely as rivers. Her parents wept with joy at her return. They still ran the old spice shop, and in its many aromas and flavors, she found memories of the places she'd traveled and the people she'd known. She told her story, bottle by bottle, and began to build a life on the soil she knew best. The fortress of Cadnua emerged as a bastion of security in the midst of an untamed land, becoming the envy of every thane and earl in Deerwood. Legend grew over time of its impregnability, and stories of formidable invaders easily scattered by the keep's defenses became popular around the hearths of Deerwoodinians. Likewise, it also became a beacon to travelers, merchants, and visiting dignitaries alike. Reputed as the finest fortress in all Deerwood, people would journey from near and distant lands alike to experience its fabled hospitality and grandeur. The Audra dragon known as the Master Below, her soul now housed in the body of the huntress Fallen Roet, passed out of Deerwood in relative anonymity, her final destination unknown, even to herself. She was last seen in the port town of Road's End, boarding a ship, an Audra talisman glowing about her neck. Palagina had gone against the Duke's Bell's orders by inventing a new trade arrangement with the Anamenfoth to accommodate the recovering Deerwooden market. With the Deerwood's people strengthened by the Watcher's gift of souls, the Valian republics found themselves struggling to keep up with their new competitors. For her outrageous insubordination and audacity, Pallegina was banished from the republics for several years. After the southern forest of Erglonfoth opened to both the republics and the Deerwood, the Valians found that the combined efforts of all three nations had created a robust trade network. The Duchessa of Biajepi granted Pallegina a pardon for her foresight, though it took many years for her to regain the trust of her superiors and brothers in the Order. Adair chose not to return home to Gilded Vale. Through a number of quiet inquiries, he soon found his way into the underground organization of Aethasians known as the Night Market. Ironically, in learning that the gods had been fabricated, Adair found his faith in Aethus renewed, and that his god was neither alive nor truly a god had become irrelevant. He rose quickly through the ranks of the Night Market for his optimism and for his bold leadership, his ultimate goal to make the Deerwood a place that would welcome followers of the Shining God once again. When the dust settled in Sun and Shadow, Aloth looked upon the remains of Theos Ix Arcanon, his former master. He saw where the Grandmaster had gone wrong, and he knew what he would do better. The secret of the gods would be preserved, and with it, the sanity and well-being of all Kith. He donned the remains of Theos's ceremonial garb and prepared himself for the long and lonely task ahead. With the Watcher's goals accomplished and his own vows fulfilled, Kanorua sailed back toward Rawatai, thinking on the lessons his travels had provided him. By the time he landed at Tekoa, he understood what his path must be. Standing before the Lore College, Kanorua explained that the tablet he sought had been destroyed, and so a true interpretation of the Tonvi Oratoa could no longer exist. The people of Rawatai would have to create their own. He described the many strange things he had seen in his travels, and announced his intent to pursue the accumulation of knowledge abroad, seeking answers to new questions. True to his word, Kana soon set sail on yet another expedition, and in Tekoa, his passionate accounts inspired many to follow in his footsteps. With Theos defeated and the souls released from Sun and Shadow, healthy children were born once again in the Deerwood. The grieving mother sought a place where she might do penance for the birthing bell. She returned to Deerford, where, to the astonishment of the villagers, she delivered the first healthy child in over a decade. She remained there, and with each new birth, she saw a measure of hope restored to the Deerwood, and a measure of grace for her own troubled past. Durrance used Magrin's strength only until Theos had been cast from the world, and then swore off her influence entirely. Regret came to weigh heavily on his mind, and a man who had never previously lacked for words or opinions came to embrace silence and contemplation. He continued to wander, penniless and destitute, searching now not for the reason for his goddess's silence, but for a mechanism for revenge. The charred robes he continued to wear as a reminder that he had been burned by his goddess, and not just by the flames of the Godhammer. Sagani experienced the 4 months of her journey back to Masuk in vivid colors. She strove to memorize every moment of her final trip through the Deerwood, Erglonfoth, the Valian republics, and beyond, preparing to tell her village of what she had seen on her long journey. All of Masuk shared in her triumph, and she felt her pride and elation magnified by the joy of her village. Never again did she doubt the value of her sacrifices. After decades as a long hunter, Sagani finally became one of Masuk's most respected elders. She guided her community with wise counsel, and a generation after she finally passed, another huntress journeyed into the world to find her soul. For you, the death of Theos brought an end to your waking visions, and a silence to the whispers of the past. In their absence, you were able to sleep. The questions of a distant lifetime ceased to trouble your soul. All that remained was what to make of the answer. But at the moment, there was little to be done, and the matter would have to wait. A long journey loomed ahead.